Welcome to another edition of Leadership Files. This is your host, Noah Lobo, broadcasting live from the great state of Indiana. Today, we are talking to a Togolese gentleman. His name is Dr. Jean Emmanuel Gnagnon. He is the deputy mayor for Commune La Casse 3 in Togo. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. He is a specialist in African and Comparative Literature at the University of Lome. Lome is the capital city of Togo, where he has been a lecturer for the past decade. He specializes in his research focuses in transdisciplinary fields. He is interested in issues of international security, state governance, and crisis management. He is also a leader of a political party, so we'll get to find out more about what that political party is. And also, he is interested in youth employment, education, integration of human development, among other things that he hopes to share with us. So, without any further, let's bring up Dr. Jean Emmanuel Lome from the great state, the country of Togo. So, Dr. Jean, welcome to our program, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here with you this moment. I'm also congratulating you for what you are doing because it's very great job. I think that this is very wonderful. Encouraging you to go forward for what you are doing. Very, very best. Congrats.
Thank you, thank you. We are very appreciative, and we are doing our best to bring to light the African people who are doing wonderful things. And my co-host, he reached out to me and said, we need to bring Dr. Jean Emmanuel Gnagnon to our program because of the great things that he has been doing out there in Lome, Togo. So to start us out, sir, can you talk a little bit about your background? I know you are a university professor. Talk a little bit about your background.
Thank you very much. You know that it's not easy to talk about ourselves because
Mhm.
it is better than someone talks about you. But now I think that I'm just beginning things. I am graduate in physics and literature, comparative literature at the University of Lome since 2015, and I'm interested in politics activities because I think that I'm convinced that we need to work hard so that we can give a good society to our children, our brothers and sisters. That is why my topics, my preferred topics was first literature because I was also very engaged in literature. This was my thoughts. I thought that but through literature we can also try to change the world. My vision was to contribute to the way to change women rights being and also to contribute also to find solutions to our world. So literature was for me a way so that we can find and can contribute to that purpose. But after I started with the university, I became literature lecturer with uh, French French and literature teaching. I was at the University of Lome and now also in another private universities. In the private universities, I am teaching communication strategy and communication. But after all this, my my thoughts, my ambition or my way of thinking leads me to understand that I need also to get another capacities, another skills. So I started also learning about international security also topics related to governments, to governance of states, of failed states, and also about everything we need, like state issues and international security, management of peace, and so and so. So my conviction leads me also to understand that I need to be engaged politically, and that is why I engage myself politically as a youth. It's not easy, but my I was very uh, convinced that we need to contribute a lot through this way also, because politics constitutes a big huge a big item, or a big a big a big sin, so that we need to, when we want to transform the world, the society, we need to send our ideas through politics also, so that we can have results. And that is why with with friends that believe in my ideas, we started moving, gathering people, sharing our ideas with them, and we were also talking about the restoration of the country. That is why our movement is called Togo Movement Togo Restoration. How to restore the country, how to put things together, and to find solution to the all problems we have now in our country. And by fighting through this way, I have been elected as deputy mayor in Commune Lac 3. Commune Lac 3, it is a locality in Togo, at the southern of Togo. It is an area located between the, the, the ocean and a lake. The lake name is Lac, Lac. Donc, in French, it's a lake, the lake. So the lake gave his name to our locality, and the part of our locality, because in this region we have four localities regarding the lake. So we are at the third part of the locality. That is why our locality is called the Lac 3. It is like Lake 3, the third part of the lake. So I'm now the vice deputy mayor in this locality, and facing now the challenge of development of the area. And I think that this is our duty, and we are on the way. And with the grace of God, I think that we have many results for our youth, our population, and so that we can also
Mhm.
uh, see what is possible for us for future.
That's good. That's good. That's good. So before we talk about the sort of the composition, the size, and the population size of the area that you represent, let me take you back to sort of when you were a boy, a young boy growing up. Did you want to be in politics, or at what age did you start thinking about getting yourself involved in politics? Let's go back in time.
Yes, okay, let's go back to this past, because you I can surprise you now. I can surprise you. You can be surprised, because uh, even my colleagues, my mates in the primary school and school can testify today. I was saying every time that I will become a politician, or a person that will be engaged in social activities. Even at that time, I was a child, but I don't know how to explain it. I was yet impacted by the society matters, and in just child discussions, I was sharing with my mates that, do you know me? I don't know why, but it's like a dream. I think that one day I will become a politician. And for me, there is no another way. And I was telling them also that there are three things or three domains that I am interested in my life, that in which I will be interested in. I was saying I will be politician, I will be a teacher, and also I'm also interested in religious, like
Okay, three
becoming
things.
pastor.
Oh,
Three
good,
things,
good. Yeah.
like becoming pastor. So I can say that today I find myself in these three competencies or these three domains. I became a teacher, lecturer at the
Mhm.
university. I am now like a man of God, a pastor, and I'm also on the way that I was talking about, politician. For politician, I'm now on the way progressively to go to the top, and I know that I will reach the top because of the commitment that I have. And just to tell that today, what is happening in my life that not surprise me. I was like conscious of the matter before, while I was a child. And last time I started reading, I started writing a book in which I want to relate. I want to to give these histories to others. I
Mhm.
want to make people know what was my childhood. It was not also easy, but what I'm doing today is not like an accident. I was sure that I will become this thing. Uh, and for me, it is like a program or a project. And I think that I am in the project. I'm fulfilling every page of the project and progressively to get to the top.
Slowly making progress. So that's good. That's good. Yeah. So we're
Yeah.
gonna transition a little bit and now talk about your academia and touch on, because I know literature. I grew up reading African writers series, so I like people who are focused on literature. So we'll talk a little bit about literature and what you are doing at the university, and
Mm.
we'll transition to the politics.
Literature,
Yeah, so
so
we are talking to Dr. Jean Emmanuel Gnagnon. Is the deputy mayor for a city or a locality. I know
a
the French
locality.
names,
Yes,
like I come from the English speaking side. So I know
yes.
like in Togo is the French. So sometimes, I may butcher some words. So forgive me ahead of time. So
Oh,
yeah,
it is
so
the same thing for me,
yeah, so yeah, no, I think we are in the same
as
boat.
I'm also from a French a French speaking country. It's not also easy for my
Mhm.
English, but I think that I can try my best once again.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, so
So
talk a little bit
about
about the academia and the type of classes that you teach, and because I know you've been teaching for about a decade or so. Talk a little bit about your life in academia and how you transition from academia into politics.
I think that after I defended my thesis in 2015, uh, I started with by assisting some professor. My professor, I was also an assistant, and this was in 2014. I was like an assistant, and I was teaching. or I was in charge of the course named uh, poetry, African poetry. And then I started also teaching what novels, techniques of criticism of novels, how
Mhm.
to read novels,
Mhm.
but especially African novels, African authors. So, particularly, I was specialized in the books of Amadou Kuruma. Amadou Kuruma is an novelist, African novelist. He wrote many novels, I'm going to give the title in French, like Les Soleils des Indépendances,
Mhm.
or once again, Allah n'est pas obligé, or En attendant le vote des bêtes sauvages. These are some titles of the books of Amadou Kuruma. He is from Ivory Coast in
Okay.
Western Africa.
Mhm.
So I was used to teach how to read his books. What are the thematics in his books? What are
Mhm.
also the ideas in his books? So as also is specialized in comparative literature. I was supposed also to compare the novels of Amadou Kuruma to the novels of another authors that also are writing on the same subjects,
Yes.
and to
Yes.
see how they are approaching the subjects, and
Mhm.
how what are the results of their reflection on, for instance, the problematic of independence in Africa. So
Yes.
Amadou Kuruma worked on the problematic of the independence in Africa, like the birth of the states, the African states, how they got birth, and how they were also managed, the
Mhm.
management of the new states in Africa from 1996 to 2000, for instance. So these are the line of reading, the way, the model of reading of these novels. And I was used to teaching the way of reflection, how to analyze even the ideas or how the book was written, the riches, the style, the stylistic way that the book was written. And after that, I'm also I was also used to teach another course that is called the history of words, French words, the history of French words, how French words got birth, how is their evolution, phonetic evolution, and construction of the words from Latin to Greek and to French. How was the evolution of this? Was the progress of the words? How to analyze them in a context of reflection in a test? That was also some subjects I was teaching. But in my writings
Mhm.
papers, I opened another way of research. The
Mhm.
another way of research I opened was neuroscience. Neuroscience, how to apply neuroscience paradigm to literature, how
Oh.
to understand the brain impact on how we write a novel, the methods of the brain impact in the writing of books, how to find out some indicators in a book that show the functionality of the
Mhm.
brain. That was the new part of research I was opening.
That's very impressive. That's very impressive. I think we need that as African people because I think I remember when I was in high school, most of the writings were from the Eurocentric approach. So as
Hmm.
Africans, I think it's very good that we are looking at things from the African perspective. So I mean,
Yes.
congratulations on your work because we need more comparative references to African authors. For instance, like in the history of anthropology, I'm familiar with the
Hmm.
works of Jacques Diop from, I think it's, you know, these French names. It's a challenge for me to pronounce them, but they
Check
Jacques
and
and
job.
Diop. Yeah, Jacques and Diop. Yeah,
Check
so
and job
those
from
are
check and job.
from
Yeah,
Senegal.
from Senegal.
Yes, yes, yes.
Mm.
Yeah, so it's very good. I like the approach that you're taking because I think we have to look at not only from the Eurocentric, but at least look at from the Afrocentric perspective.
Yeah,
So
Afrocentric. Exact.
yes, yes, that's good. So at least you have this rich education, academia background, and now why politics? Why politics?
I think that I was is planning it right now
Hmm.
because you know I even if I was like in my mind I was
Hmm.
prepared to become a politician since my childhood,
Hmm.
but by reading authors, by discovering ideas in
Hmm.
books, by comparing societies,
Yes.
even from these European societies, African societies, by comparing the evolution of
Hmm.
many states, I came to realize that many things can be changed in our societies also.
Hmm.
You know, there is a chief of state that I appreciate very well at that time is Leopold Sedar Senghor
Hmm.
from Senegal. This man was also a, a literature man, and he was also a poet. His way has impacted me very, very, very bigly, very, very big. He impacted me
Hmm.
because when I discovered his work, his big and huge work
Yeah.
that was done, and his way of thinking, his approach of Africa development, I discovered a man that impacted me very good, very well. So these ideas started to prepare me for the involvement in politics.
I see.
When
Hmm.
also I started also French literature, the civilization in France, and how they come to democracy, how they give up monarchy, and they come to republic and to democracy. Even how I discovered également America by reading America civilization by reading. I see how they come to democracy and even the life of Abraham Lincoln. All
Hmm.
these started forging my way of thinking. And something also very important is I hate, I say I hate injustice,
Yeah.
social injustice. I
Hmm.
hate, I cannot afford that. I cannot. I hate
Hmm.
social injustice. So when I am facing social injustice somewhere, I cannot be silent. Even if I try to be silent, something want to get out from me.
Yeah.
And I started understanding that I have something to do by fighting against social injustice. These are some reasons that lead me to politics. Because Togo is a country, is a particular country, and we have to do a big job to have an equal situation in the country.
Mhm.
And I understood that I was called, I was called to come and to give my contribution to build a justice society, to build a society where everyone has his rights respected, everyone has an opportunity, the same opportunity, equal opportunities. Everyone can also hope for good tomorrow.
Mhm.
Everyone can also be something in the country, not because of
Yeah.
his parents, the name of his parents, the name of his uncle, not because of his origin, but
Mhm.
because the fact that he is a citizen that has rights that should be respected, so that we can have a justice in the country.
That's well said.
That is why
Actually, this is
I found myself in politics.
that's brilliant. I like the way you build up, because I think you talked about your childhood. People could see that you were gonna be a leader, and also
Yeah.
your research, looking at comparative literature, how leadership is applied, for instance, from the Eurocentric
Hmm.
approach, and also you. I like the fact that you look at the neuroscience behind how people perceive. Leadership. I think that's very impressive, because you say you come from
Yes.
academia, and also you are a pastor, because we need Africa needs more of a servant leadership. We need more of genuine leaders who are going to save the people, not necessarily just to look out for themselves. I like the part where you talk about the justice, because we need justice, and not only justice that saves a few, which is injustice. So that is a brilliant way to put it. So we're going to transition and now focus a little bit
Yes.
more about the politics in Togo, because I want you, when we come back, if you can talk about the population like in your area, the people that you represent, what type of people in terms of economic standing and things like that. So we'll be right back in a few seconds. Talk a little bit about the composition of the area that you represent, because you are the deputy mayor. So talk a little bit about the number of people and the type of incomes, whether it's middle class, low class, high class,
Okay.
and things like that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. You know that our locality is a best locality, and I will invite you to come there. You see, you appreciate very well that we
Mhm.
have the lake. We have the lake, and we have also fishes. We have big fishes there. If you
Yeah.
want to eat fish, just
Oh,
come in our
definitely.
locality. You will
I'll
see
take you up on
very
that.
the big, very good restaurants
Mhm.
uh, near the lake. You have them. So our country, our locality is contains about five 100 above 100,000,
Mhm.
1.220,000 over population,
Yeah.
population. And in this population, we have as five 55 55% that are women,
Mm-hmm.
55% that are women, and we have like 75 70% are youth,
Mm-hmm.
are youth. But it is a locality that is located between the ocean Atlantic and the
Okay.
lake. So uh, yeah, so it is also a tourism center.
Mm-hmm.
It is because something is very important in our locality is the slave home.
Okay.
You
Okay.
know that the history, yes, in our locality we have a slave home. You know that the Portuguese came there, and that is the way, the trajectory of the slave. They came and they bought slaves to go to
Mm-hmm.
Portuguese. So we have also this type of reality, which is tourism. Tourism is very important in our locality, and
Mm-hmm.
we have also hotels, hotels and restaurants. Also, our locality is very favorable to all these activities.
Yeah.
And another economic activities is the the fish
Mm-hmm.
selling, fish selling, because we have boats, we have boats, and people can also find fish to sell. And uh, after that, we have
Mm-hmm.
some little shops that are there, where people sell general things, like clothes, like shoes,
Yeah.
like everything you need for foods, and so on and so on. So our locality is something like that, and very attractive because of sea and lake. People, when you come to Togo and you don't come to our locality, it is like you don't come to Togo.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that is the purpose in our.
That's good.
So our purpose now is to build, to make, like, our locality will be the center, the touristic center in Togo,
I
so that
see.
when everyone comes to Togo, our purpose, our vision is to
Mm-hmm.
make the locality becomes a touristic center
The
in
tourist
Togo.
attraction.
Uh, yeah,
That's good.
touristic
That's good.
attraction in Togo.
That's
Yeah,
good. That's good.
that is our ambition.
That's good. Yeah. So, can you talk about your now? I'm going to ask you some questions about the leadership. So, can you talk about given a time when you had to make a very difficult leadership decision because you are a leader, I mean, for the party that you represent. Give one or two examples where you had to make very tough decisions.
I can be very frank speaking now. I
Mhm.
can say that the first time I take as a leader a very crucial decision was in 2020,
Mhm.
when I decided to be candidate to the presidential election.
Oh, that's a big one.
It,
That's a big
yeah,
one.
that was the very big one,
Mhm.
and you can understand that it was not easy,
Oh yeah.
because I was the youngest declared candidate on the
Mhm.
list,
Mhm.
and it was not easy because, regarding to the reality in our country, I was facing a big challenge
Mhm.
as a leader. And what was also critical in the situation was the fact that I was in another political party,
Mhm.
and my decision was leading me to give up that political party
Oh,
and to
okay.
find another way, like you were upstairs somewhere and throw yourself down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I see.
But this was also risk taking, like a leader.
Mm-hmm.
Also, like your conviction, you had to believe in what was your idea. You have to believe in that
Yes.
and to take the decision, even if it was also risky.
Yeah.
And that was what I did in 2020. And unfortunately, my candidate was invalidated because of another matters. Uh, Now I continue on working on the field so that to prepare myself for another stage, the coming stage.
Mm-hmm.
And I can be very happy that this was not easy as a
Mm-hmm.
decision to be taken, but I did.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, I know that's a very huge, huge decision. Obviously, you have to sit with your family and get counsel from them and see what they think. Because usually, taking up such a task, it's a very, very demanding because you're putting yourself out there for the public. And
Exactly.
once you are out there, then you just never know what happens. But I think your background as a academician and the approach that you want to apply in your leadership, I think that's unique and different. So, can you talk a little bit about what are some of your successes?
About my successes, I you know that for there are some aspects that I don't reveal here.
Hmm.
Uh, I started engaging myself in social activities while I was in secondary school.
Hmm.
I I became president, the leader of a club. The club. The first time I became president or a leader
Hmm.
of a club,
Hmm.
it was a club for youth sensitizing against AIDS
Yeah.
and HIV. I
Oh.
started like that,
Hmm.
and in I was a member of an a association that was called ATBF. It is specialized in Planned Parenthood organization,
Hmm.
Planned Parenthood, and I became first the leader in the region. This was a success in a region. I became the first youth leader in the
That's good.
region in Togo in 2006, and in 2013 I became the vice president in the whole Togo, and I was the first youth at this position.
That's good. Good.
In 2015, I became the national president of the association in the whole Togo,
Hmm.
working on the field of parenthood planification federation. And in 2011 or in 2017, I was elected in the African Board Commission.
Mm.
It is the IPPF. IPPF is the International Parenthood Planification, IPPF. Federation,
Mhm.
International Parenthood Federation. So I became member of that board, and thanks to God, I had to travel a lot in many countries in Africa, and I met some big persons from which I learned many. So it is like many success for me. A part of
Yeah.
my academia way,
Mhm.
academia progress, that was also my associative life, and I learned a
That's
lot
good.
from that. Very wonderful. And this also prepared me to politician life, in
Mhm.
negotiating, in talking publicly, in leading meetings, in sharing ideas on TVs, on broadcasts, and so on and
Mhm.
so on. So these parts of my life also are like big success for me. But I think that I don't have now the best success.
Mhm. Yeah, no, that is very commendable job. I mean, you've achieved a lot, and there is more because you're still young. Obviously, you have more things to achieve for the great country of Togo and also for the African continent. I like the academia piece because especially people who write books, you do not write books only for your country folk, like for instance the
Hmm.
people in Togo,
Hmm.
because books can be shared across the African continent and just the rest of
Hmm.
the world. So it's always good to read different perspective so that at least as you are on your leadership journey to uh, positively impact the country of
Hmm.
Togo, at least you are coming with that rich background in leadership, and so that's very commendable. I wish you well on that. So now I know you mentioned that you are a pastor. Talk a little
Yeah.
bit about that. Yeah.
Okay. I, I think that don't lead me started preaching now, because I will have the temptation to say in the holy name of Jesus. But I can tell you that, my father is a pastor.
Mhm.
My father is a pastor, and I I, I, I I cannot say that he initiated me to that, but I was accompanying him everywhere in my childhood, and I can remember the time that he asked me to interpret when he was preaching. I was just a child. I was at secondary school, but he asked me to interpret when he was preaching, and sometimes he was preaching in our local language, Ewe, and I was called to interpret in French, and this also trained me very well to that. But I can say something that will surprise you. Uh, I never think I will become a pastor. I planned everything. So I planned everything, but I told myself that, pastor, you are called to suffer, because when I see how my father dedicated himself, and it was not the result. I was not satisfied. So I told myself, yes, it is good to serve God, but I can serve God from where I will be. I was not planning myself to become a pastor. And at the university, when I was after defending my thesis, uh, something very, very, and I cannot understand that.
Mhm.
Everywhere I go, people call me pastor. Everywhere I go, people call me
Mhm.
pastor. sometimes when I go to an assembly in a church, I sit down. I still very, very far in the bottom. People come and say, "Hey, you are a pastor. You know that you have to come and sit down here." And it was like I didn't want. I didn't want. No, 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 no. I didn't want. But right now, I understood something. God told me, you want to restore, you want to contribute to change the world. But do you think that you can change the world without my word? Do you think
Hmm.
that you can change the world without my way of thinking? Do
Yeah.
you think that you can give justice to the world if you are not involved in my justice?
Yes.
And these things started changing my way of thinking. And from that day, I started to say, "Oh God, I can abandon myself into your hands now. I'm not going very far from you again." And I started abandoning myself in the hand of God. I started with the work I had to do in churches, uh, and I accepted also became to become an interpreter in my church, my local church first, and so on, so on, so on. My vision was coming to be precise because of the ministry I had from God. And one day God told me that I will make you, you become a prophet of nation. And I cannot explain that for you. It is like tears because I feel the heavy cross, the heavy cross from that. It's not easy to talk about that. It's not easy to accept to serve God because the cross is heavy. Even if he will be there besides you to help you, but you know, this is the very
Yeah.
difficult decision. I think
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
not
No,
easy.
that is true.
Yes.
That's true. It's not easy. It's not easy. Yeah. So as we are sort of heading towards the end of the programming, can you talk a little bit about conflict management? I know crisis management is sort of your area of focus. How do we as African people handle or manage conflict, especially in times of crisis?
Yeah, you know that crises are frequent now in Africa,
Hmm.
and the causes are several. The
Hmm.
reasons also are several. Even the factors are also several. Sometimes in Africa, the crisis starts by the non-respect of the rights, human rights, or
Hmm.
also the non-respect of the constitution of the countries of the states. You know that sometimes people had in our country, in our African countries, they have also the law, but no one respects the law, and this is a very a big challenge because the conflict starts when you know that the power is in the hand of just the same person for many years and many years and many years, like an eternity. It is very, very, very critical. And another reason of the conflict in Africa is also ethnical matters. Ethnical matters, you see that uh, there is a very big challenge for people to live together. Even if we are called to live together, people have some differences, people have some oppositions within their way of seeing things. It's not easy for them. So the conflicts also are located in uh, these situations. And another matter, another dimension we need to also take in consideration is also the border matters. In Africa, we had also border matters that bring also conflicts. But the huge situation today is related to terrorism. Terrorism is a big matter today, big subject. If we
Mhm.
have a conflict situation, and it's true that in Africa we don't have conflicts between states, intra-states, but the particularity of the conflicts in Africa is within the countries, within the states, and not obviously uh, interstates, no. But when we take, for instance, a country, the conflict is inside, within this country, with this
Yeah,
the population, with this the citizen of the country, and it is very rare that we have in Africa uh, states besides to go into conflicts. Even if some diplomatic conflicts can be there, but the conflicts as like crisis like that we don't have. So how to manage all this? Because we are called to become peacemakers, and how to
yeah,
build peace, how to build peace in this situation. Uh, First thing we think is the governance. We need that the governance should also create opportunity of social justice. When you
yeah.
have social justice, it is one of the states, one of the basic uh, things that we need if we want to build peace in our society. So another thing, another matter is democratic election or democracy.
Mhm.
Democracy, right now we know that democracy, when we respect every standards of democracy as it is built, when we respect that, we can see that democracy is the way of leading, of ruling the country, so that the constitution is respected, people also are respected, and every power, the separation of powers will help to manage the state without crisis. And the another thing is the respect of the rights, women rights.
Yeah.
Women rights respect, we need to respect women rights so that we can also create a big world for peace, for peace. The distribution of the health of the country,
Mhm.
the natural wealth, even if economic situation, so that people can have equal access to the economic. But if we don't have the equal access to economic matters, we will create some frustrated person, and that will become a hunger person, and
Mhm.
the one who is ruling cannot be in peace. So we need to build peace through these ways also. And I think that finally, another way of of building peace is dialogue.
Mhm.
Dialogue. We need to discuss. We need to have platform of dialogue in our countries. And today, Africa should do everything to have within the countries some instance of dialogue, social dialogue, that will
Mhm.
help people to prevent crisis, to prevent also conflicts. Because when the danger is on the way to come in the country, you need to sit down as brothers and sisters, and we need to dialogue. You need to discuss, to debate with respect to one another, and so that you can find solution to the potential problem that the country will be facing. And I think that Africa has to consider today all these aspects so that we can build peace in Africa. This is very important.
Well said, well said. It's just been a pleasure, pleasure. So, as we are finalizing on our programming, what is your words of wisdom to the Togolese listening to you uh, back in Togo and also Togolese around the world and also to African people? What's your words, any words of wisdom?
To my compatriots, to Togolese, I can say that, our history calls us to become very involved, to involve ourselves in the building of our country. We need to put our country like the goal of humanity. We need to understand that we don't have another choice. We need to live together, to build the future together, to give each other our hands like a support, mutual support, so that we can find a way, the best situation for our country. Our country is blessed by God, and when we will understand that we don't need to hate each other, but we need to love each other, Togo will be the best country in the world. Everywhere you Togolese you are now in the world, I call upon you, and I'm telling you that the time is now, so that we can even pray for Togo, but even dream. We need to dream big, because Togo is called to become a big nation. We need to dream, because big will be our state. We need also to dream very, very big, because big will be the opportunity Togo will offer to the world and to African states, nations. I can tell you that Africa is one of the best continents in the world, is even the best one. Even if you are facing many challenges today, you need to understand that our time is now. Let us go forward by considering what is public things interests. Put public interests over individual interests. And everywhere in Africa, we will build peace. We will be united, and we will also create a new and hopeful world for each other. And for all the one in the over the whole world, I tell you that Jesus loves you. And now I'm telling you about like a pastor that Jesus loves you. Everyone in the world, Jesus loves you. And be blessed in the name of Jesus, because the earth is on the hand of God. We need to protect environment matters. We need to protect earth. We need to love each other, so that earth can become our common heritage, everlasting, everlasting. Thank you very much. May God bless you all.
Thank you, Dr. Jean Emmanuel Gnagnon, the Deputy Mayor of Togo. It's been a pleasure, sir. I have learned a lot. I like your presentation, everything that you have shared, and I'm sure our listening audience, those who will be watching, they will be impressed with your presentation. So it's been a pleasure, sir. I greatly thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity. And it will also be pleasure to see you once again.
Definitely, I'll take you up on
And
that. I wanna come and try that fish.
yes, I remind it to you. The fish is waiting for you.
Yeah, thank you, doctor. Appreciate you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. God bless you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.